from our studios in the Southern Food and Beverage Museum in New Orleans. Welcome to our Louisiana Eats podcast series, Quick Bites. I'm Poppy Tooker. Children in Louisiana grow up with so many local traditions that schools could practically add an extra class to cover them all. Luckily, songwriter Johnette Downing is around to set these traditional stories to music. Johnette's award-winning books and songs have earned her many nicknames, from the Pied Piper of Louisiana music traditions to the musical ambassador to children. I invited Johnette into our studio as she was counting down to the release of her latest album, Swamp Romp. We talked about everything from Cajun Mardi Gras to a topic she covered in her latest book, Who Put the Baby in the King Cake?, which also happens to be a song on her latest CD. So I asked Johnette to describe how she goes about explaining this piece of Mardi Gras lore to the very youngest Louisianians.
I always think about children. They always ask why and how did that happen, you know. So who got the baby in the king cake? That's a colloquialism that we say all the time. But when you go other places, they don't know, what are you talking about? Is there a baby in a king cake? Why would you put a baby in a cake? So I thought I have to explain to children why do we have a king cake baby?
And why do we?
Well, it's a good luck symbol, and whoever finds the little plastic baby, it's a little tiny thing, whoever finds their baby in their piece of king cake has to host the next party, the next king cake party. And that's just a way for New Orleanians to get around and have more parties, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, but before we continue the discussion, I mean, my goodness, this is almost like a cookbook because you explain the whole process of how to make the king cake. Let's hear the song.
That sounds great. Who got the baby in the king cake? Did she find the baby in the king cake? Did he get the baby in the king cake? No, you got the baby in the king cake. What happens when you get the baby? You have to give the next party. Invite all your friends and your family to eat king cake and be merry. Let's party. It's Mardi Gras down in New Orleans.
I love Who Got the Baby in the King Cake. You know, when I was little, I always heard tales of people swallowing the baby so they wouldn't have to bring a cake. Wouldn't that be a disturbing thing?
Well, that is not good.
That is not good. That is highly not recommended.
When they used to put pecans in there or a pea.
Or a bean.
A bean.
At one time, it was a gold fava bean, I've heard.
That's true. And then they came up with the little plastic king cake baby. And now they come in all different colors, which is really fun. And you can have more than one king cake baby because we love to party. So more people have the king cake baby, the more parties we have.
You never have enough king cake babies, I think. Your illustrations are so much fun. Who's responsible for them?
I illustrated that one. Yeah. I illustrate some of my books, not all of them, but this one is. And I use cut paper collage, which is really fun. And I like to use cut paper collage because it's something that children have in their classrooms or at home. And they just cut the shapes in glue and make three-dimensional images out of them.
Well, do you know what I really love about your books, and in particular, Who Got the Baby in the King Cake, is that you tell our story authentically and accurately to all of those poor children who don't get to live in New Orleans. I bet you have some stories about expats in various parts of the world who make sure they're raising little New Orleanians with your help.
That's true. People tell me, oh, your book is going to Minnesota, it's going to France. I had a little family from France, and they lived here in New Orleans for a while, and they came to all of my shows. And then they moved back to France, and now they send me pictures of their kids, you know, holding my books and singing those songs. It's really sweet.
And you're as international as your books are. You go everywhere with them.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, you know, because everyone loves Louisiana culture. So I've performed on 5 continents. And they want my music, my Louisiana heritage, you know, the music and the books that all represent Louisiana culture.
they must not always understand the language. How do you manage that?
Yeah, well, like you know, food is the best language, and they certainly understand that. So.
J'ai voulu le renard et la belette, j'ai voulu le renard danser. J'ai voulu le renard et la belette, j'ai voulu le renard danser.
What exactly is this story about, Johnette?
Well, you know, in Louisiana, we have not one type of Mardi Gras, but two types of Mardi Gras. We have the Mardi Gras in New Orleans area with all the floats, but there's also a rural Mardi Gras out in the Cajun prairie, and it's Cure de Mardi Gras. And they don't have floats per se. What they do is they ride around on horseback and they go from each house begging for ingredients to make a communal gumbo. And at the end of the chicken run, they call it, they have a big party and everyone eats gumbo.
Well, that brave chicken on the chase. How does he warn everybody about the revelers on the way with the intent of the gumbo pot?
He sings out, "Mumbo jumbo, stay out of the gumbo. Mumbo jumbo, stay out of the gumbo."
Does he succeed?
He does. And that's a repeated refrain throughout the whole book. He does. He warns them all. And at the end of the book, the Cajun revelers, there are no animals to go in the gumbo, and they have to eat a delicious pot of gumbo zerbs.
Gumbo zerbs? Well, you know, I am looking through the book, and it's kind of hilarious because that chicken, that cheeky chicken, he's warning the shrimp. He's warning the pigs. Who all does he reach in the nick of time?
And it's a duck, a goose, pigs, cows, everybody. All the
shrimp, oysters. Even the oysters, he had to sing to them on the oyster beds.
That's right. And the crawfish. And the book is illustrated by Jennifer Lindsley, and she's from Thibodaux, Louisiana. So she did a great job of making that little chicken look really fun, and all the animals and all the masking, because they do masking there too, but it's different from our masking in New Orleans.
Describe what they look like.
Well, they have like a screen. It's like a screen that goes over the face, and they'll put like a little nose on there with a bell on the end. And I can't quite remember what the bell was for, but it has a significance. And their clothes are kind of tattered.
And they wear pointy hats.
Pointy hats, right?
Because Cajuns used to be punished with dunce caps, you know. So that's why their caps are pointy, I think. And so they end up with a gumbo zerbs, which of course is that green gumbo that's really a Creole tradition. So this must have been news for those Cajun folks.
That's right. They had to learn about our great vegetarian gumbo here in New Orleans.
And interestingly, this was your first vegetarian story, in essence.
That's true. Yes, I'm moving. And also it's funny because I'm moving toward more of a plant-based diet, about 90%. And that's really tough for a person from New Orleans. It
is.
But I do about 90% plants. So I thought, and I've had many parents say, well, we love your books. Like if they're a vegetarian family, they say, we love your books, but they're all about meat eating, you know. So have you ever had thought about doing a vegetarian book? And I said, so that's perfect. This is it, gumbo zerbs.
Well, Johnette, you know, another one of my favorites of your books is How to Dress a Poor Boy. And there's a lot of poor boy eating that goes on during the carnival season. So let's have that discussion. How do you dress a poor boy?
I think you put a hat on it, right? Is that how you dress a sandwich?
No.
Oh, that's not. Oh, I know. Pajamas. You put pajamas on a sandwich. That's how you dress it.
No. And, you know, Johnette, you are so funny and adorable. It's really only in New Orleans that we even use that expression.
Right. And so when people come to town, I say, now look, when we order a po' boy, I tell my friends, if they say dress, this is, you know, you need to answer this way. They're asking you this question. And so how do you want it dressed? How do you want mayo and lettuce and tomato on it? And I said, don't say you want it naked because that's just silly. So I thought, you know, children are always inquisitive and they're always questioning, why do we say that? So I thought, okay, this is going to be a book to teach children how you dress a po' boy. What ingredients do we add to make the sandwich the yummy Louisiana treat that it is?
Well, let's talk about it because it's so charming the way you teach the authentic way. Of course, you start with that long, long French bread loaf. But then here in New Orleans, darling, we usually got to add the mayonnaise.
Right.
What does it say in your book?
You have to have blue plate mayonnaise or mayonnaise, right?
Absolutely.
You can't have any other. You get kicked out of Louisiana if you have any other type of mayo, right?
Our very own Louisiana mayonnaise, blue plate mayonnaise. I love that. So what else happens on that sandwich?
And then you put a tomato, but not just any tomato. What kind of tomato would you put on there?
A Creole.
Of course, it can only have a Creole tomato on it.
Oh, that's wonderful. And then, of course, the rest of the dressing, what happens?
And then you have to have hot sauce.
Of course you do.
And now we have so many delicious types of hot sauce in Louisiana. I was just being very democratic, and I said Louisiana hot sauce. That way
you get to pick your choice.
Yeah, you get.
And then what else can go on? Here's the really important part. So there's no pajamas. No. You can't put a hat on it. No. Poor boys don't wear shoes. But each poor boy can be a little different, huh?
Right. Then you top it off with meat, any kind of meat, shrimp, catfish, or soft-shell crab, roast beef de brie, or Italian meatball, crawfish or sausage, or alligator.
Bravo, bravo. And how does the happy story come to an end?
Well, you eat it. You take a bite. That's it.
Well, you've made me hungry. Let's go take a bite of a poor boy.
That sounds great.
I'm having mine dressed. How about you?
Absolutely no other way. A po' boy is a sandwich, as everybody knows, dressed with all the fixings, and this is how it goes. First you start with bread, long French bread. Then you add the mayonnaise, blue plate mayonnaise. Come on now, we're learning how to dress up, oh boy. Girl or boy, let's all enjoy a Louisiana po' boy.
Johnette, it's the most exciting thing that all of these delicious stories we'll be telling. Soon, you can get a CD with the music and everything.
That's right. I have my 11th record. It's coming out.
11th record? Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
And it's called Romp, a Louisiana dance party for children. And on the record is how to dress a po' boy and who got the baby in the king cake.
Oh, my goodness. How can people find it?
Oh, they can find it on my website, JohnetteDowning.com. It'll be on iTunes and all that, Amazon, all those online. But it's really great. It's the first record I've done with my husband. He's a 3-time Grammy Award winner, Scott Billington. And I have a duet with Irma Thomas on the record. I have a duet with James Singleton. He's played, I know. It's just been fantastic. And Joelle Savoy of the Savoy Family Band, and they're the Dukes of Dixieland. The Dirty Dozen Brass Band is on there. Rebirth Brass Band is on there, and Doug Belote. It's like the who's who of Louisiana music. And I'm just so honored that they came out and played on this record.
Oh, my goodness, this must be like the dream of a lifetime for you.
It really is. It's like my whole career came full circle, and to have my first record with Scott he produced it, and it's just been an amazing journey.
Oh, I am so happy for you. How did that journey start?
Well, it's been about 5 years we started the record, and working on it, writing songs. And because we had so many different bands playing with us that we had to work around their touring schedules. And we're going to have some videos with the record. We have a song called Bambula with the Dirty Dozen Brass Band, and they're going to be in there and in the video with us. So it's
Where
just
will
been
people be able to see the video?
It'll be on a YouTube channel. I have my own, Johnette Downing, and also Johnette and Scott, a YouTube video channel. So,
well, we will make sure that all of these things are linked from our Louisiana Eats homepage, so everybody can go to poppytooker.com and find Johnette Downing too.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So exciting. Johnette, I really want to know this. Your latest book, Who Got the King Cake Baby? How many books does this make you, prolific author, you?
It's my 24th book.
Your 24th book
Yes.
and your 11th CD?
Right.
What a body of work you have.
Thank you. It's been a great adventure.
How long have you been at this, and how did it all begin?
31 years. This is my 31st year. And it started when, I was always in bands. My parents were both musicians, and my dad was an avid reader. So for me, like, music and books just went hand in hand. That's why so many of my books are singable.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yes.
Where'd you grow up?
In New Orleans.
You did?
Yeah, my father was a Baptist minister, and I was born in Marrero, and he had a church in Gretna, downtown Gretna, and we moved to Uptown. He was a minister at the Uptown St. Charles Avenue Baptist Church. So we moved around a lot, but all throughout Louisiana, all throughout New Orleans, and then we moved to Hammond for a while. I went to high school out there.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah. Well, you are definitely a New Orleans girl made good. I'm so glad to know you. Thank you so much for coming to talk with us. It's always a thrill to share you with my Louisiana Eats listeners, and I know there's a bunch of them who just love Johnette Downing, so thank you.
Thank you so much, too.
Swamp.
It's a party in the Black Lagoon. Alligator and a T-raccoon. Two-stepping in the afternoon. Swamp romp, swamp romp.
That was Johnette Downing, multi-award-winning musician and children's book author. Her latest album, Swamp Romp, will be released in February of 2019. You can learn more about Johnette and buy her books and CDs by visiting JohnetteDowning.com. If you enjoyed this Louisiana Eats Quick Bite, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you won't miss a delicious upcoming serving of Louisiana Eats. Visit poppytooker.com for lots more recipes and delicious food ideas, too. And for autographed copies of my new book, The Pascal's Manali Cookbook. All my other books are available there as well. Louisiana Eats original theme music composed by David Pomerleau and performed by Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes. Thanks to Reggie Morris, who engineered, and Sarah Holtz, who produced this podcast. And of course, Maddie Mullidew, our social media maven. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, too. This Louisiana Eats Quick Bite was produced by Poppy Tooker Broadcasting.